Thanks very much, Jez, for that wonderful introduction. Glad you made this edit to the one we had prepared slightly earlier this morning. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I think the first thing I'd like to say is a big thank you to Jez's mum and dad, Jonathan and Katrina again, just for allowing us all to pop round to Chateau Ash. A truly splendid place for this terrific occasion, I'm sure you all agree. I'd also like to say today how wonderful the bridesmaids Vicky and Joe look, outshone only by the beautiful bride Fernanda. Before I continue, let me just say that the formative years I spent in the company of Jeremy here means that he has had as much as a part in developing my sense of humour as it is. So although I've tried to make the speech as funny as possible, if it's not, Jez is part of the blame. Now, as you know, Fernanda is Brazilian. You may be unaware of an interesting custom of Brazil, and it's that the groom has to prove his worth as a husband by taming an unbridled donkey. This custom is known as Bumba Mu Boy. If he succeeds in this task, he is declared a willing suitor. So if you could all grab your drinks, we're just going to head outside. There's a special arena out there. I'm joking, of course. We actually did it this morning. I couldn't get hold of a donkey. I actually managed to find an asthmatic chicken. I'm happy to report that in a closely fought battle, Jeremy emerged victorious, proving himself a worthy husband. When Jez first asked me to be best man, I was extremely shocked and surprised. Having been in a band together where I was lead singer and he was lead guitar, he has witnessed me on many occasions attempting to speak to large crowds of people, well, more than a dozen, and normally failing miserably. Clearly I'm no bono. I even announced once to a confused crowd at a gig for no discernible reason, I like playing bass. So for him to trust me to stand up here in front of everyone and begin this speech shows how good our friendship is, or perhaps how bad his memory is. When I was writing this speech, I felt, as it's a family occasion, the last thing I would want to do is cause offence by talking too much about Jez's colourful past. Therefore, I decided to leave out anything that might be offensive to anyone here present. So, for that reason, ladies and gentlemen, thank you and good night. Seriously though, Jez has led an extremely interesting life. I remember the first time I met Jez, he didn't actually get on too well, but, you know, because of those blue eyes, he shone. So, whilst I've not always been there in person to see Jez fighting a cardboard box, drunk, naked and alone, in the hallway of his house in Southampton, I've always been on the end of a phone call or witty, well-worded email. One thing we have in common is our sense of humour, perhaps more than anything else. Both of us really enjoying the ridiculous. I remember conversations over the years involving making up raps about how much gold we have inside of LL Cool J, reciting the Far Show in an office at any time that we could, and generally trying not to take things too seriously. As Fernanda says earlier, that is his general outlook on life. And I have to say, he is a lot better at this than I am. Just ask Peter Beardsley. I could probably stand here for an awful long time and tell Jez related stories, but we have only a short amount of time here. And I'm sure Tim is really keen to get on that DJ. So I'll just limit it to a few. As I mentioned, Jez and I were in a band together along with Phil Watson, who's here, and James Wright, who's back in the UK. And whilst we never really got going and never really got around to conquering America, I'm extremely proud of what we achieved. A couple of things stick in my mind, one being when we were playing at a festival and Jez began really rocking out, and I mean really going for it. Near the end of the song, he flung himself to the floor, still playing guitar wildly. At the end of the song, I went over to him and said, "Mate, that was mental, I mean seriously brilliant." He said, "Thanks." Although what actually happened was I became entangled in my guitar lead and fell over. But the crowd loved it, and I was so pumped up by all his dramatics, I felt I just had to tell the crowd there how much I liked playing bass. The most infamous occasion with the band was definitely the ill-fated gig in London, where our manager Hugh forgot an amp and all of our drummers' cymbals. Fortunately, with the help of the manager's mum, we got the stuff delivered to London. Truly rock and roll. We've always been there for each other as well, to comfort each other in the bad times. For instance, in our mid to late teens, during one of our extremely rare band spells with the ladies, going wrong, and one with his massive hair, and my really thick anorak, we just weren't hitting it off the ball. So we decided we were going to take more risks. He would get a haircut and leave his Napoleon Dynamite days behind him. And then both of us would act more mature. And then we went to watch Toy Story. Jez has always been a confident, outgoing guy, and it's one of the reasons he can strike up a conversation with almost anyone, which is a trait I really do admire. Sometimes, though, his confidence does overflow slightly, leading him to make some grand statements such as, I remember once him saying, "I'm so good looking, even ordinarily heterosexual men find me strangely attractive." And we were heading for a night off one night, and I recorded passing a mirror exclaiming, "My word,